Welcome back. I'd like to thank all y'all for joining me as we dive headlong into this exciting tale of love, this poem, my favorite book ever, written by Sri Aurobindo. It's called Savitri. So we'll hop right into it. Book 1, The Book of Beginnings. Canto 1, The Symbol Dawn. It was the hour before the gods awake. Across the path of the divine event, the huge foreboding mind of night, alone, in her unlit temple of eternity, lay stretched, immobile, upon silence marge, almost one felt opaque, impenetrable. In the somber symbol of her eyeless muse, the abysmith of the embodied infinite, a fathomless zero occupied the world. A power of fallen, boundless, self-awake, between the first and last nothingness, recalling the tenebrous womb from which it came, turned from the insoluble mystery of birth, and the tardy process of mortality, and longed to reach its end in vacant naught, as in a dark beginning of all things, a mute featureless semblance of the unknown, repeating forever the unconscious act, prolonging forever the unseeing will, cradled the cosmic drowse of ignorant force, whose moved creative slumbers kindles the suns and carries our lives in its somnambulist whirl. Somnambulist whirl. Big up to Dolores Cannon. She's into that deep somnambulistic trance state to inspire healing within the self. All one. And continue. Athwart the vain, enormous trance of space, its formless stupor without mind or life, a shadow spinning through a soulless void. Thrown back once more into unthinking dreams. Oof. Earth wheeled, abandoned in the hollow gulfs. Forgetful of her spirit and her fate, the impassive skies were neutral, empty, still. Then something in the inscrutable darkness stirred, a nameless movement, an unthought idea. Insistent, dissatisfied, without an aim, something that wished but knew not how to be, teased the inconscient to wake ignorance. A throw that came and left a quivering trace, gave room for an old, tired want unfilled. At peace in its subconscient moonless cave, to raise its head and look for absent light, straining closed eyes of vanished memory. Ooh. Like one who searches for a bygone self and only meets the corpse of his desire. It was as though even in this naught's profound, even in this ultimate disillusion's core, there lurked an unremembering entity, survivor of a slain and buried past, condemned to resume the effort and the pang, reviving in another frustrate world. Oof. Reviving in another frustrate world. Man. But we got to keep on keeping on. Victory to the divine light. That was what I added in. So I continue. Reviving in another frustrate world. An unshaped consciousness desired light. Man, that hits home deep because I'm going to have to touch on that in another video. The whole line 45 to line 50, book 1, Book of Beginnings, reviving in another frustrate world. Because I had 3 near-death experiences in this lifetime. The first 2 was just black nothingness. Woke up in the hospital. They told me, you don't have insurance, put your clothes back on, take the leads off, get out of here as soon as possible, scumbag. It is a scumbag, but that's how I felt. I guess I should have insurance. But anyways, third time, major, massive, I'll have to tell you in detail, but how I came across Sri Aurobindo was after I went flying around out of my body while I'm dead in the hospital, went all kind of places and was summoned up to the 13th level, got off on a cloud. All kind of spiritual family there, but the one face I remember was the younger Indian man. And I thought it was my homie Neil, who's locked up in the Fed prison at the time. Silly of me. I get home, talk to Neil in Fed, be like, dude, I was dead. I was out of body, bro. I seen you up in heaven. So are you dead? And he's like, no, I'm in Fed. Oh, so it wasn't you. No, it wasn't me. I'm in hell on earth. Anyways, fast forward 5 years, I'm in my spiritual journey, my search, reading online something about this young man named Sri Aurobindo, who was a freedom fighter for India. Anyways, whole nother story. But I saw a picture of him when he was young, and it was this gentleman who wrote this book, who ushered me off the cloud, said, your family, go talk to Papa. I found him years later, a picture of him when he was young in the freedom fight for India. That was the man who ushered me off the cloud, my spirit family. So now I feel so honored to be able to read this book to you at this time. But let me go back to right here and tell you how this hits home. And probably for all of us. Line 45, Book 1, the Book of Beginnings, Canto 1, the symbol Dawn. 45. Survivor of a slain and buried past. Condemned to resume the effort and the pang, reviving in another frustrate world, an unshaped consciousness desired light, and a blank prescience yearned towards distant change. Period. So, I got to go see what I call the still magnetic white light, which was, I don't know, you put the words to you that you want to put with it to it. And I was given a choice. Yeah, you're home. You've worked hard. Stay here if you want. Enjoy. But just know this. You will start back over as a twig because you won't be happy with yourself having missed what's going to occur on Earth this time. You have worked more lifetimes than can be counted to be here on Earth, incarnated, this moment in time, to experience what we're experiencing. So that being said, I chunked up the deuce, told that still white magnetic light that we call Source, chunked me back to the south side, Playboy. It's time to ride. And I've been on my journey ever since. That was 13 years ago. So, I will continue. Line 50. As if a childlike finger laid on a cheek, reminded of the endless need in things, the heedless mother of the universe, an infant longing clutched to somber vast. Insensibly, somewhere a breach began, a long, lone line of hesitating hue, like a vague smile tempting a desert heart, troubled the far rim of life's obscure sleep, arrived from the other side of boundlessness. An eye of deity peered through the dumb deeps. A scout and a reconnaissance from the sun. It seemed amid a heavy cosmic rest, the torpor of a sick and weary world, to seek for a spirit sole and desolate, too fallen to recollect forgotten bliss. Intervening in a mindless universe, its message crept through the reluctant hush, calling the adventure of consciousness and joy. conquering nature's disillusioned breast, compelled, renewed consent to see and feel, a thought was sown in the unsounded void. A sense was born within the darkness depths. A memory quivered in the heart of time, as if a soul long dead were moved to live. But the oblivion that succeeds the fall had blotted the crowded tablets of the past, and all that was destroyed must be rebuilt. An old experience labored out once more. All can be done if the gods' touch is there. A hope stole in that hardly dared to be, amid the night's forlorn indifference, as if solicited in an alien world, with timid and hazardous instinctive grace. Orphaned and driven out to seek a home, an irreverent marvel with no place to live. Into a far-off nook of heaven there came a slow, miraculous gesture's dim appeal. Hey, this is my first time ever doing anything like this, so I'm experimenting with my voice, so y'all take it easy on me. I take constructive criticism well, but if you want to talk shit, just know I might just show up at your work or your house. One-man mob. But back to the love and light. In a far-off nook of heaven, there came a slow, miraculous gesture's dim appeal, the persistent thrill of a transfiguring touch, persuaded the inert black quietude, and beauty and wonder disturbed the fields of God. A wandering hand of pale enchanted light that glowed along a fading moment's brink, fixed with gold panel and opalescent hinge, a gate of dreams ajars on mystery's verge. One lucent corner, windowing hidden things, forced the world's blind immensity to sight. The darkness failed and slipped like a failing cloak from the reclining body of a god, then through the pallid rift that seemed at first hardly enough for a trickle from the suns, outpoured the revelation and the flame. The brief, perpetual sign recurred above. A glamour from unreached transcendences, iridescent with the glory of the unseen. Healing, love, and light, all one. Ooh. What's up, Rocco? Say hi. This is my little buddy, Rocco. One of my guardian angels. Gremlin City Wax. Okay, a message from the unknown immortal light. Okay, good to go. A message from the unknown immortal light. Ablaze upon creation's quivering edge, dawn built her aura of magnificent hues and buried its seed of grandeur in the hours. An instant's visitor, the Godhead shone. On life's thin border a while the vision stood, and bent over earth's pondering forehead curve, interpreting a recondite beauty and bliss. In colors hieroglyphs of mystic sense, it wrote the lines of a significant myth, telling of a greatness of spiritual dawns, a brilliant code penned with the sky for page. Almost that day the Epiphany was disclosed, of which our thoughts and hopes are signal flares. A lonely splendor from the invisible goal almost was flung on the opaque inane. Once more a tread perturbed the vacant vast. Infinity's center, a face of rapturous calm, parted the eternal lids that open heaven. A form from far beatitude seemed to near, ambassadress twixt eternity and change. The omniscient goddess leaned across the breaths, the wrap that fated journeyings of the stars, and saw the spaces ready for her feet. Once she half looked behind for her veiled sun, then, sun S-U-N, in every sense so far, then, thoughtful, went to her immortal work. Earth felt the imperishable's passage close. The waking ear of nature heard her steps, and wideness turned to her its limitless eye, and scattered on sealed depths her luminous smile. Kindled to fire the silence of the worlds, all grew a consecration and a rite. Air was a vibrant link between earth and heaven. The wide-winged hymn of a great priestly wind arose and failed upon the altar hills. The high boughs prayed in a revealing sky. Here, where our half-lit ignorance skirts the gulfs, on the dumb bosom of the ambiguous earth, here where one not even the step in front, and the truth has her throne on the shadowy back of doubt. On this anguished and precarious field of toil, outspread beneath some large indifferent gaze, impartial witness of our joy and bale, our prostrate soil bore the awakening ray. Here too the vision and prophetic gleam lit into miracles, common, meaningless shapes. Then the divine afflatus spent withdrew, unwanted, fading from the mortal's range. A sacred yearning lingered in its trace, the worship of a presence and a power, too perfect to be held